Welcome back, everybody. Just Mike here. Today we have a different clock to work on, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out, I guess we'll put it. But let me show you this clock that we are going to be working on. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe because it's free. Here's the clock. This is the clock. It's a United and has a glass dome that's supposed to fit over this. This continuously turns, like as you see it now. When I first got it, it wouldn't even do that. And this is powered by electricity, which I think pretty close to all the United clocks are that way. I took the back off so I could see why it wouldn't turn, and this would not go around like it is now. What I did is, this here's got holes all through here, and I took my oil and dropped down in, hoping it'd come down to where this is, because the center of this has like a brass thick bushing on the front and on the back, and most of the time that's what's wrong with these, is that needs oil in there. And if you wanted, you could pull this off. You're going to bend this little aluminum ring, but that's actually no biggie. You can straighten it back out again, and if need be, you see this brass round piece, it pops on there and you can squish it back on there to be straight again. But that's if you want to get this out to where you can actually, if you need to, clean the hole that this little rod goes through in order to let it spin. And you'd have to do it, obviously, when you get this off. You can pull it clear out the front and you clean both of them, oil them, or whatever. So this is the cover to it. September 6th, 1950, 58 or 59. Let's go ahead and unplug this thing. And I haven't gone any further than what you see here. I know this is loose, we'll say, but I have a feeling somehow or another, oh, I see there's a screw in there, and so this must pop out to take that screw out. And let's see, it's only got two of these tabs bent over, I guess, so you don't continuously break them. Now let me get a screwdriver up in there and see about taking that off. So to take this off, you have to pretend you're tightening it, because if you try to take it off the other way, it's not going to come off. So there, we got it off. There's a backward thread screw. And not sure yet if this will come out because I don't know where the power hooks in. All I see off to the side. So what I have to do is feed this cord up through, I guess. Yep. As I'm trying to take this thing out because it has wire nuts in there. You want to be careful with this too, because the wires that usually go to the motor, sometimes those are old and want to crack. This looks like someone put a newer cord on here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is disconnect these wire nuts. And that's what we have so far. And now we need the dial off, or the bezel. And by the looks of it, we're going to have to bend these back up. So I highly doubt you'd turn them. There's a chance. Thing is, I need the hands off, but it's hard to get up underneath here. I was wondering if you took these nuts off here, if you could get this off, and the hands might pop off, but you wouldn't care, because once you have this off, you'd be able to straighten those out again. So let me see about taking these off. That's what I thought. This will come out. Let's see if the hands will pop off halfway decent. Or actually, now that we have it open this far, we might be able to pull this metal back into place again. This took a lot of doing getting this off of here. Thank goodness this is, I thought it was plastic, but this is glass. So I have to try to straighten this out to be able to get this out. The hands fell off, but this centerpiece with the little crystal, I guess we'll call it, that there is on there good. I'm not sure what it's going to take to get that off of there, but I'm going to work at it until I do. I was able to take these, slide it under, squeeze a little bit, and then start rocking it. And then it came off. This here dial has a little bit of something right there. This here is a plastic sheet. I don't know if there's paper underneath or not, but I should be able to clean this plastic sheet to get that off. And here, this here would stay in on its own because of the dial. And this, by the way, holds on to a gear inside there, and so possibly you'd want to get your pictures to see just where each of these are supposed to set. Say this here goes through to this gear to hold it in place. So you take the nuts off. And if you take them off all the way, more than likely they'll stick inside your socket. So now, with that off, I do believe the motor will come off. And this here actually has a plastic gear there, so this is a little bit better than the ones with the fiber gear. The fiber gear was so touchy, you didn't want to mess with this at all. So right here is your brass gear, or brass bushing, I guess we'll call it. So you can actually oil it right there and it should be fine. The deal is, if you need to get into here, how do you get that off? And it does move a little bit, but it's not that easily taken off. Taken off. Usually this will bend a little bit. It's aluminum. Inside here there's a metal band that I think is what was there for weight to keep this thing going. I'm going to oil the center of this just to start loosening up, and we're going to see if we can get that off. And in the meantime, I might be destroying my clock. Well, I can't get this off. I've had them off before on different clocks, but I don't want to destroy the clock because I happen to like this clock. So what I'm doing is dropping some oil down again, trying to get it to flow down to the shaft. What's nice on some of these movements, they actually have, if you look through here as you turn it, they have the sponge, and the sponge is what you'd oil that would go over to this shaft that we're trying to oil right now. This was turning fine, but I didn't know how much drag there was with it off the clock. I was doing this and I could feel a, let's call it a vibration. And now that I got some oil to drop down into where this is, I don't feel it anymore. And yes, I did oil this side already. To straighten these out, I use my heavier duty pair of, I think they call them dikes, and I grabbed a hold of it and just pried it. And because this is really strong, it must be steel, it can't be aluminum, it's too strong. This here's a beveled piece of glass, and now I can clean it properly. Means I got it apart. And then put it just right back in and get those to bend again once I have the dial in. So anyway, that's as far as I'm going to go on this. And by the way, getting back to this body, if you look right here and right here, you'll see this clock. The reason why they brought it to GW is because they started to carry it somewhere. They dropped the clock, broke the glass dome that goes over this, and this whole piece here bent back, so that way it runs okay. It gets, the pendulum gets a little close to this, but it's just not right. If you see it sideways, it looks funny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, let's say, bend it back, super glue it into place, and put some baking soda on it or something, trying to get this to stiffen up. Normally you're not carrying your clocks around, and this once it's back into place, roughly speaking, this has no stress on this because that movement weighs nothing. And unless you drop it again, if I'm successful in getting that back together, it should be totally fine. But I'll do that off of camera because who knows what's going to happen, and I don't want a bunch of bleeping in my video. You can see the baking soda on here. I haven't blown it off yet or rubbed it. I did it inside here first where the legs are. Oh, the only thing you do is hope that works. Like I say, this is still hooked up, so it shouldn't be, let's say, a problem as long as I'm careful with it. So it does stick out, let's say like a sore thumb. I might try some permanent markers to, yes, it's not going to match the gold, but to hide that a little bit and see how well I do on that. I'm putting the movement back together again. I oiled what I could. This here has a shaft on it that has to come down through to hold this gear here. And we're all the way through there and holding it in place. I'm going to go ahead and oil this end. Oh, I forgot to wipe down the dial. Got a little glass cleaner on my rag. Yeah, that nastiness just comes right off. Sometimes you wonder how it got on there. Whoops. Now we can put these nuts on, but first, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3. We have these washers here, and I do believe the washers go on first. And pull this back off again. And pop these brass washers on. Now you can put the 3 nuts back on. So we have those 3 nuts on and tightened. There's actually a tool that slides in here to catch that nut. I don't have the tool, so I just used my pliers and got it tightened. We have this back on. Now we'll put the nuts back on it also. 1, 2, 3. Now let's install the hands. And as usual, I'm going to point them at the 12. Have that slot in there that opens up a little bit. Get that on there, yep. And then let's not forget our ruby. And here I've already cleaned the glass. It has a ring around it, and that might have been scratches from this. Now the difficult thing is once I get it on, trying to bend this again like it was before. So let me try bending them. Took my small screwdriver, I'm destroying the end of it. I don't know why I keep using this one to do that, but I set it on its end like this, and I gave it a tap with the hammer, not wanting to get too carried away because we do have glass here. And considering it's tight enough, so now to try to get this wired back in, and it doesn't matter which wire goes on which on this clock. It's a little bit long. Screw them on as tight as you can get. So for a test run, because we were messing with it, no, I didn't get it off all the way, but we were messing with it. Let's see if this thing will start on its own. That looks good to me. Yes, we still have the pendulum to put on. No, I don't see my bolts coming through. So this lip here has to fit down into grooves. And then you look for your bolts, I guess. But it doesn't seem like it's... Where are they? Oh, that's right. I've had this apart too long. These bolts are kind of long at the reach in there and fit on and screw tight. Do I even have them lined up? It's hard to see in there. Anyway, once I get them started, I'll be back. So I went ahead and got them screwed in. Difficult because you have the length of the nut, I guess we'll call it, and you can't necessarily see the shaft. On this side I was able to. This one took the shorter one. There's a longer one. This one here, I never did see it. I felt around, took several tries, and I actually got on it and it screwed in. You can see this yellow. I'm probably going to do it again because to me doesn't look the greatest, but then again, maybe this is a 15-foot clock. Stay 15 feet away and it'll look good. Let's see if this works. Yep. So the next thing is getting this back in. This is pot metal. I'm going to go ahead and use glass cleaner on it. Dollop those the balls on there a little bit, hopefully, and get it back in. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'm going to set this down in there, and it's brass, so it's not going to just magnetize itself in. Oh, the balls come off. Sweet. But I don't know if that's sweet or not. Maybe they snug in there, but I don't care if it's off right now. We're going to get, hopefully, this back in. So I'm going to bring the screwdriver in through. So hopefully I can touch. Yep, I got the screw. I just need to remember, turn it clockwise. Or counterclockwise. Oop, I lost my screw. There's a possibility of having it upside down. I can get it in there if I can get it into the hole. Well, it's in there, but didn't snug it down, so I'm not sure. Let me test it again before I put the plug in and get the other ball on. It's going around. It looks like the balls were glued on, so I saw a little spot of glue there. I just set that on there and gave it a twist. But I did see a spot of glue. At least I think that's what it was. And actually, that's fit in there snug enough. It's not moving when I'm pushing on it. So I'm happy with that without bending those deals. I hear it making noises. I'm going to try a second coat on this. See if I can get it to darken up. It just looks a little strange in my opinion. He's already messed that one up. Let's just say, because I tried orange first, let's try a touch orange on this one. Nope, it just really, really bad. I'm just going to be happy that hopefully it's going to stay. We tried. Anyway, I have a dome on order, so I don't have it here right now. And so until the dome's here, I guess we're just going to let this thing run just the way it is. Set the time you pull the knob in the back. Yep, that's what time it is. So anyway, how sweet is that? So you see those stand out, but you're supposed to be looking at the time, not that. Even though these are going around, maybe you're supposed to be looking at that and not that. So anyway, I tried my darndest to get it totally apart. I've had them off before, that disc, just trying to find out what these clocks are all about. This clock is newer than the ones that I've worked on of United, and the reason I can tell that is because of the plastic gears that are in there instead of the fiber that's in them normally, and the fiber breaks so easily, and that's why your clock usually stops, besides possibly needing oiling. Having the plastic ones is a great idea, great to have. If you happen to have the fiber ones, if you tear it down that far, don't throw it in the cleaner. You can clean them up, but evidently, according to another person I watch, Time for Clocks, he says, he looked it up and says you're supposed to soak those in clock oil to keep them from breaking up. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe again, because it's free. And give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. I tried my best getting this clock tore down totally, but you can kind of see how you might tear this one down. Like I say, originally I had to oil it in order for it to come on right away. Otherwise, I don't know how long it's been unplugged before I ended up with it, but it did not want to start on its own. Anyway, until next time, God bless.